Good day and greetings from the Great White North. My name is Prickly Poo and welcome to day 222 of a year of change. And holy shit, I gotta start this conversation again. I've had this conversation 3 or 4 times this week. And so this is going to be more of a rant than a conversation with you guys. Thursday, it sort of fits in because Thursdays are sort of new science developments and everything else. And depending on when you're watching this, if it's something fairly recent, you're probably one of the millions of people that have heard that the World Health Organization has now put out their final word on meat and red meat. Basically what has happened is that there's a division called the International Agency for the Research on Cancer, International Agency on Research on Cancer, or anyway, something like that, IARC. And they're a division of the World Health Organization, which I have sent you guys up many times to go up, take a look, and, so they're very good. World Health Organization in general is very good at sort of debunking a lot of the bullshit that goes along with it and everything else. However, their delivery of this information sometimes suffers greatly, and this is the case of what happened this week. Basically, what they did is that this section, I guess, of the World Health Organization put out a report, and in a nutshell, basically saying red meat is bad and processed red meat is carcinogenic. Good enough. The problem with that is that all people heard was carcinogenic. And so far in the past week, everyone has just gone fucking bananas because they're panicking and saying, oh my God, we can't eat meat anymore because we'll have cancer and everything else. Part of that is the delivery. I mean, the majority of it is that people have heard just a little snippet or they've seen a headline and they haven't bothered to look into it at all. So, we're going to clear the air. To start with, you can't deny it. Yes, that is what they said. And yes, it's true. However, the main fault with this is that the IARC, their grading system is horrible. They basically have 3 levels. When it comes to something that's carcinogenic, they have grade 1, which are things that they know to be carcinogenic, right? That they can prove, beyond a shadow of a doubt, it has caused cancer at some point. Then they have grade 2, which is, there's a lot of evidence leaning towards the fact that these are, but we haven't been able to actually just say, no, that's the cause of it yet. That's a grade 2. And then there's undefined, which is not really a grade 3, just sort of an undefined thing where they go, we don't really know one way or the other. We have no evidence. So what they did is, with the red meat, they looked at it and said, okay, red meat, which they included pork in there as well, so it's not just red meat. It's basically all, I think in the report it actually refers to it as mammalian meat. So all meat. They said that there is a strong correlation. There is that, the evidence is overwhelming showing that, it probably is carcinogenic in the long run for people. Basically, they're focusing on colorectal cancer, just so you know. So, bumhole cancer. So, sciencey things. And then they said processed meats, things like pepperoni and salami and sausages and stuff like that, anything that's been salted or cured or things like that, they are carcinogenic. All right? So they've put them in grade 1. They put them as a grade 1 carcinogenic along with tobacco and all that stuff. So there's the problem, because people have started to freak the fuck out because they're saying, oh my God, it's just as bad as cigarettes. It's not. Now, we're going to sort of touch back on a thing that we talked about when we were doing fat a while ago. Basically, I'm going to sort of really, really oversimplify this. If you were to have 10 million people, that was your sample. My nose is really itchy. I'm not picking my nose. Maybe I am. Anyway, it was like this yesterday too. All right. So let's say that you had 10 million people. All right. And you gave them a new drug that you were developing. And every last one of them, all 10 million people, died within 1 year. Okay. So you have that. And then you go through every scrap of information that you have and you run as many tests as you can. And you're looking at it going, there's a correlation there. We fed all 10 million people this pill, but we can't prove it was the pill that killed them. But, I mean, it's one of those things you're like, we pretty much know that is the cause, but we can't prove it. So we're going to put that in as a grade 2 carcinogenic drug. Grade 2. So that's what they would do. They would say, we can't prove that any of those deaths actually came from the drug that we developed. So we're going to put that in as grade 2. Then you have a second group of 10 million people. We're cutting the population down pretty quick, but you have another 10 million people. You give them a separate drug, and one of them dies. 1 out of 10 million. So they run all the tests, and they can prove conclusively, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the information is there, the evidence is there, and it says this person died because of that drug. It wasn't an allergic reaction. It wasn't anything that was strange. It was that the drug itself became toxic, and that's what killed them. Then that drug would go as a grade 1. Even though you're looking at it going, that doesn't make sense, one person versus 10 million people. Yes, but they can prove it. And this is the beauty of science, is that unless you can prove it, it's not true. That you go for a fact. So what they've done is that they've looked at this and said, red meat is in that grade 2 because we're pretty sure that it's a cause of colorectal cancer. We can't really prove it yet, but there's a lot of things that the correlation is there. We've talked about that before. Correlation doesn't mean causation. So just because every time that you open your cupboard doors, then it rains, it doesn't mean that you're causing it to rain. So that's why they put that in there with grade 2. With processed meats, they actually have a number attached to it, and they say for every 50 grams per day that people are eating, it increases the risk of colorectal cancer by about 18%. Okay? Now, just like we talked about this, I think it was with fats a while ago. Oh, no, it was sodium. Sorry. It was sodium. Remember, we had said that, for every teaspoon, it increases your risk. What this means that for every 50 grams per day that you eat of processed meats, it doesn't matter what it is, that it increases your risk by 18%. That doesn't mean that, okay, well then, I've had 100 grams today, so I have a 36% chance today of getting cancer. Or I've had 300 grams today, which is this big, so I have a 100% chance of getting cancer. It doesn't work that way. It increases the risk factors that are there. That's what they have determined with processed meats, and a lot of it probably is because of high sodium content, or that they've smoked meats or something like that, carbon things and all the other stuff. Whatever it is that's caused it, they can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt. They have a number attached to it. They have a quantifiable thing that they can look at and say, all right, every 50 grams per day, it increases your risk by 18% overall if you're eating it daily. All right? So because they have that proof and say, we know that this is, and this isn't anything new. Everyone has sort of said, yeah, if you eat a shit ton of processed meats and everything else, of course it's going to be bad for you. But because they have a number attached to it now, they don't have a choice. This is now grade 1. We know beyond a shadow of a doubt we can prove and repeat the experiment to prove it again and again and again that these numbers exist, that this does cause cancer. Okay? Now, we all know the same thing about meat, but they haven't gotten to the point where they can actually prove it with such certainty yet. So that's why it went into a grade 1. Now, the problem is, of course, the delivery of it. And they went, processed meats are carcinogenic. Bye! And everyone just has freaked out. So, just like the sodium thing, that percentage doesn't add up to 100% where you go, okay, well, I'm at 100%, so I'm going to get cancer today. But people don't get that. They've looked at this, and all that they've heard is red meat is, probably carcinogenic, and processed meats are carcinogenic. The problem is, because it's sort of an offshoot, it's not really good. It's a branch of the World Health Organization. So I've seen everything from headlines saying, World Health Organization calls meat carcinogenic. Flat out, no, they didn't. They didn't say that, just meat in general. They're very specific. I've seen ones where people have said, they say it's the number 1 leading cause of heart disease. No, that's not what this is about. They're saying, it's the number 1 cause of cancer. No, it's a grade 1. It's not the number 1 cause. And when you're looking at it, you're going, of course, it's not as dangerous as smoking, or probably even drinking, for that matter. Or pick any other vice. It's probably not even, actually, you know what? It's probably not even as dangerous as obesity in general. Just the fact of having these processed meats. But the thing is, because their delivery of the information, they just went, everyone's going to understand. If we say, no, this is a grade 1, which means it's carcinogenic, that's it. Then people should be able to, work things out for themselves and read the study, which they've published publicly. So this isn't something that they've hidden. They've said, no, it's out there. You can read it if you want to find all the information that you need. It's out there. But people haven't. They've just heard that little bit of information, and they have started to panic all over the place. So I've had this discussion with people, a couple of times over the weeks, or over the weeks, because I can travel in time, and I went forward, and then I came back and discussed it with them again, which made things really awkward. Now this one came out just a couple of days ago, and it's been driving me buggy, because just like the wheat thing, and just like dairy and all the other stuff, people aren't taking in information and going, all right, let me go learn more about it. They just grab onto a headline and start running with it and saying, oh my God, this is the worst thing in the world. So I guess it's because part of that is that they're sort of expecting people to, they should know better by now. World Health Organization is saying, no, we'll release information and they can go and look it up and they can find things for themselves. We shouldn't have to calm them down first and go, now keep in mind, this isn't going to kill you if you have a ham sandwich. You're fine. It's okay. You can still have pepperoni pizza. The problem is, of course, now they're interviewing farmers all across the country and saying, well, we're going to have problems because people aren't going to want to eat meat and everything else. The sad thing is they're probably right. People are going to panic like this or about this the same way they did about wheat and milk and pick something. It doesn't matter what. Actually, I saw a thing today. I can't remember who it was from. Someone I follow on Twitter anyway. And it may have been, I think it was Bob McDonald. Anyway, someone I follow on Twitter, they had sent out this message saying, this is completely unrelated by the way, sent out a message that they bought a pack of chips and it said on it gluten-free, as if it was this great big thing. And potatoes don't have any gluten in them to begin with. It's like saying water, now gluten-free. It's just, but it's that panic that sort of permeated everything that everyone goes after, that this is undoubtedly going to happen, to this information as well. So there probably is going to be some backlash to this. I'm sure, if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, go for it. Enjoy. It's not for me. It's one of those things that I'm just, what? If you want to do it, that's okay. But I'm not going to partake because I like hot dogs, I like hamburgers, I like pizza, I like all the good stuff. And just going for, I probably could go vegetarian which is weird because the vegetarian thing, they are allowed to eat fish and dairy. I could probably do that. The vegan thing, not so much. And it doesn't matter what your reason is. If it's for health reasons, that's a little dubious because you kind of need protein, but we do have alternate sources of it now. So it's not something that you have to eat meat all the time, obviously, because people don't. If it's for, moral reasons where you go, I don't want to eat a small, fluffy, cute animal, fine. It doesn't matter what your reasons are. Go to it. But the problem is that you get information like this, and people say, see, I told you, I'm better than you because I don't eat meat, and I'm not going to get cancer. Well, you are. You're a mammal, so you're going to get it at some point. In some way, we all do, inevitably. And for those of you that say, no, we don't, think, yeah. The cancer rate for mammals is pretty fucking high. It's how we're built. So, just when you're looking at information like this, and, I've had this discussion so many times. This is why I say this is more of a rant than anything else. Take the information, go seek out more information, make an informed decision. To help you along with that, I'm going to actually put the study up in the links, or down in the links, in the description below. So you can go in, you can take a look. It's just a quick little, sort of more of a media blurb that the IARC has put out. And I think International Research on Cancer, whatever it is. Anyway, it's their release, which is very short, considering the fact that they've had, I think it was 10 countries? 22 scientists across 10 different countries or something. Basically, they were proud. They were saying, you know what, we've been able to prove something. Look, here's a fact. And then everyone just started screaming and running around, and it's just absolute fucking chaos at this point. I know I'm picturing in my head now, people screaming and running around and, shooting each other and all the other stuff. It's not that bad. But I guarantee you that there is going to be some backlash to this. Some people, a lot of people, I think, are going to latch onto this and say, oh, I can't eat meat and eat. So look at that. I can't eat meat anymore because I'll get cancer if I eat meat. And so you are going to see sales drop down. You're going to see, incidents of, a lot more of these people, like the fearmongers, sort of coming out in force and saying, we told you, you can't eat meat. And, so I think there's going to be a period of transition while people cope with this and panic the fuck out. So panic out? Is that even a term? It's not, is it? They freak out or they panic. No one ever panics out. Anyway, before you start joining the hysteria, please go up, take a look at the information. There's tons of it out there. I think everyone pretty much admits now, they're like, yeah, the delivery of this was really poor. And it sort of caused some problems because, let's face it, the majority of people are not going to go and look up more information. They aren't going to try to investigate anything. They're going to see a headline and say, oh, that's obviously true. I saw it in print. A little too naive to just sort of accept that now. So it's something that you should be going after, and with anything. Even stuff that I tell you, this whole thing could be bullshit. It could be all true, and that if you eat one pepperoni, you will explode in cancer. But just go up, take a look at the information, find out for yourself. So I'm going to put the link in the description below so that you can go in, you can take a look at it. There are a myriad of other places that you can go. This one actually is linked to the IARC, to their little study that they did, just basically saying, okay, we're releasing this information. It's very short. It has the numbers in there as well. Keep in mind, again, 50 grams increasing by 18% doesn't mean that you're going to be guaranteed to die if you have 600 grams or 300 grams. I can do math. Shut up. If you have 1 pound of meat, there you go, you're going to get cancer. But just sort of keep in mind that, especially the grading system, they really do need to fix that because it's shit. Because it really is. They have classified processed meats in the same group as tobacco. Just to give you an idea. Because they know tobacco causes cancer. They can prove it. They can repeat their experiment and prove it again and again and again. They can do the same thing with processed meats. We know how many chemicals are in there, how much salt is in there, and they've been able to link meat with other stuff, but they can't prove it. But with processed meats, they can. Doesn't mean you're going to die. You're still okay. Everything in moderation, as we've been saying. Anyway, I feel better. That's how this was. I know it's more about blah, 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 and yelling at people more than really sort of sharing information, but just getting out that there's a very loud car in my yard. There we go. Just getting that information out so that you can just look at it and say, okay, just read it first. Before you make any snap judgments, put your torch down and just sit down, calm the fuck down, and read this. Then you can make an informed decision. For a lot of us, I think some of us are just going to look at it and go, oh, it causes cancer. I'm not going to stop eating it. Some of us are going to freak out and just cut everything out altogether and go way overboard. But my hope is that you're going to be able to read this information, look at it and go, okay, well, this is no more dangerous than they thought it was. It's just they've been able to prove it now. So keep on track with what we're doing and not overeat all the time, every single day at every single meal, and we'll probably be okay. So I'm going to leave the information down below, but for right now I'm going to leave this video here. So thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please poke the like button for me. In the meantime, keep yourself warm and fuzzy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.